welcome to the Big Black Tent. I'm Naima Freedom.
Hello, I'm Natalie Arsenault.
All
Oh,
right.
it didn't switch our little things. It used to do them side by side. Now it's like top and bottom.
Oh, I got mine side to side. I
Uh,
got it. I had to do an option at top.
oh, let me change my little view then to multi-speaker. There we go. It's great.
Well, look, I think I want to talk about several things today that piggyback off of the event that we had.
Yeah, we did a little event at the beginning of December. Chloe, that's a good way to bring 2025, the Gregorian calendar of 2025 to a.
I like the fact that you need to
I'm just saying, because we got different calendars out there. Not everybody in
check that
2025.
out.
So I'm just saying, it's the Gregorian calendar is 2025. Okay.
That's true, not the Ethiopian calendar or whatever the
Not
calendar.
nobody else's calendar. Let's be clear.
Yes.
Um, can you hear the vacuum cleaner? Can you hear that?
Yeah.
What? Okay, so that means my noise suppression not working either. Let me
I just heard a little because you pointed it out. Other than that, I usually
I
block off.
know the housekeeper's here
Oh, I could hear that.
and get my little audio and see if we can get some noise. It got noise removal. Well, that's not great noise removal. If people can still hear it. Okay. Hopefully she don't come right up in here because if she do, it's gonna be a problem. Okay.
Man.
Okay. Piggybacking on the event.
Feedback. Okay, so there's some things we haven't talked about since that we could talk about now because I learned
Okay.
a lot about myself in the process. Um
Okay.
I did. But the feedback from the women that were there was telling and it was validating.
Okay. Okay.
Telling and validating.
Okay.
It's just amazing that and I think we've said this before. Some of us were here, some of us were brought here. We've had this American experience of being severed from our history, no matter where you were from, severed from your history, if you were enslaved on these lands. And so we kind of have the same trauma bonding experiences, unfortunately.
Mhm.
And so the one thing that I heard was how we invest in emotional labor, maybe at a rate that we don't understand. Um, the emotional labor piece of it, of what we've been, as you said, programmed into. The reason why it's not Palestine over here, but the emotional labor piece and how we were all having an issue with not having strict boundaries. Nobody said my worth, but I think that's what it came down to, understanding what's mine, what's yours,
Probably.
um, what I'm responsible for, that emotional labor piece of it. Was there something that stuck out to you?
Let's see. You didn't call me on the carpet, so what didn't stick out? Let's see.
Oh, sorry. Well, I can say part of that emotional labor was when this was a little ink that I thought we could get into later was the forgiveness piece, right? Which
Oh
I
yeah,
put.
we kind of left everybody hanging on that. We're gonna cover that in the spring so you can get your life together.
Okay, okay.
And like y'all can come back together, have a little something, some snacks, and then we'll talk about some of these other topics. But yeah, that
Mm.
was quite a cliffhanger.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
it
Ooh,
was great.
forgiveness and
It
how
was
Black
great.
women have been taught to, oh, dare I say it, prostitute in the name of what they call forgiveness.
Uh-huh.
And
Yep.
not even prostitute, because at least prostitution you get compensation.
You get compensation of some sort. Whether it's what you was really worth, I don't know, but you get some kind of compensation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess for me, the main takeaway was that a lot of people, like the women who were there, um, were all very much grown. So no one looked like, and I could be wrong, somebody might have led a hard life, but nobody looked like they was in their 20s. I'm just saying.
You did
Just
somebody.
but you might have led a hard life if you did. And you
Nobody in
said,
their 20s.
if you sitting in here and you 22, let me tell you, get your life together because you looking like
No,
you're in
nobody's
your 30s and 40s. So
a hard 20.
hey, everybody like, I'm 22. I'll be like, no, you're not. So yeah, so everybody looked like they were in their 30s or 40s or even older in some cases.
Mhm.
And it was interesting how every single person uh acknowledged the fact that they, going into 2026, they, want to make sure that people understand how to handle them. And
Yes.
I was fascinated by that because I can't it's hard for me to imagine my life obviously any other way than what it is. As most people can not really imagine their life any other way. And so hearing women say that, I was just like, first of all, I'm glad that you are waking up to that, but I'm also kind of sad because you've lived 30, 40, 50 years of your life allowing people to handle you in ways that you're now reflecting on that you didn't want to be handled in that way.
Yeah,
That was
no.
kind of sad.
That what you're saying, yeah. That that baseline of how I need to teach people how to treat me, how do I get that respect, or how do I put myself in environments where I am handled properly, right? Denotes that
Mm-hmm.
it's not happening.
Right. And I mean, and I'm sure we all see a lot of like memes or little whatever's on the various social media platforms, or people are like, now that I'm in my 40s, I'm not what I'm like. And every time I see statements that start like, now that I'm in my 40s, now that I'm in my 50s, now that I'm 30, I'm like, you had to, like, you don't have to wait. Like, you don't have to wait until you hit a magical number to decide this isn't going to happen. That's not going to work. This is a boundary. I'm making this not so, like, you don't have to wait until you reach some magical decade number.
I don't think that it's waiting, and I think this is the part that's going to blow your mind because this is not your, right? Your base is not your existence. You had a mother who did a great job of doing the work she needed to do so she could produce a confident, daughter. And I say that because Gracie is starting at a baseline that I just got to in my late 40s. So to see her do what I'm just now learning to do, and when I say just now, I'm talking about like 40,
Mm-hmm.
is because it's not that you're waiting, you just don't know. Like the perception that you have does not allow you to experience choices that you don't have any exposure
That's
towards,
fair. That's
you
fair.
know?
Yeah.
Um, like I had this conversation with my mom recently, and the church will remain unnamed.
They'll protect the guilty and the innocent.
We protect the guilty and the innocent. But it's common because I was raised in predominantly white churches. And my mom is a boomer, so she's in her 70s. And she was like, oh, well, they do this, they do that. And I was like, so they're bigots. And that's going to be the experience when you're
Mm-hmm.
surrounded by people who don't want you there.
Yeah.
Right. But at the end of the day, it made me very sad because I am further along than her. My daughter's further
Mm-hmm.
along than me. But there's something about our programming, our need to survive, that just ate it, right? Ate
Mm-hmm.
it and called it normal because we were taught to go to work, keep our head down. You just waking up every day. Maybe you got to deal with this dude you married to, attached to, you just, the
Ask
kids.
this question though,
Yeah.
because one of the people that you mentioned at the event was
Hmm.
Harriet Tubman,
Mm.
right? And um, like, so not just here, not, right, wrong, and indifferent with Harriet Tubman, whatever people feel about her. and the movie that was whatever. But not just her, but like if you look through history, there were, the Nat Turners, the Harry Tubmans, the Kunta Kintes, the Maya Angelos, the people, right? And who didn't necessarily have the upbringing that you're referring to now,
Mhm.
but somehow managed to choose. Um, what do you think is in them that's different than other people?
Oh, my specialty.
Yes, your specialty. What's different?
Well, number one, I want to say we don't know what they stomached in order to get to that
Yeah,
point, right?
right.
And some of us might just not be at that point where they don't stomach it anymore.
Right.
Um, but I think the number one thing without trying to make this mystical is coherence, right? Somehow something organized within them to understand that they are whole, complete, that they, like you say, my existence is law, and that they understood that they were worthy, right? Somehow
Where
they
did
were,
that come from, though? Where did
where
that
does that come
come? Yeah,
from?
where did that? Because the way I hear people talk about it,
Mhm.
people make it sound like people who like they make it sound like it's some magical, I don't know, some existence that everybody like these people are special.
Well, no, they're not.
You're
I'm not saying that.
special. Okay.
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
And I don't want to get too complicated. And this might have to be several podcasts to break this down for me because I feel like I'm there and I'm going to use my only framework, myself and my daughter, right? So when I had my daughter, I chose not to interrupt her. Okay, I chose not to teach her um Bible scriptures or anything like that. And I found that in doing that, she had this pure voice, this pure knowledge that seemed to collaborate with what Jesus was saying, right? Um, I didn't do to her what was done to me in a sense that, and I heard your mom saying do that. I didn't tell her to be quiet when she disagreed with me. I didn't tell her not to talk back to adults, right? I allowed her to exist as she showed up in perfect form. And out of all my children, I have to say she received the most nurturing and love. And by love, I mean compassion, right? She was held in held environments longer. There was no egregious violence around her that the other two experienced. She was home with somebody longer, and not put in environments without a parent. Um, she was surrounded by a nurturing family, had enough food. So I want to talk about the architecture of safety, basically, of what that looks like. Because a lot of times we're talking, where does that come from? Well, for her in my life, she had enough food. She was in a safe environment. People made sure she was supported. Her diaper was changed. Nobody was yelling at her or around her, right? She was in a and I'm not saying I'll talk about them later, but I'm saying that she was in a protected environment to where she was able to experience
Right.
peace and calm,
Right. And
right?
we know that that contributes. But I'm saying for the people who didn't have that, but
Mhm.
still knew their worth, knew at some point early on their boundaries, what was acceptable, what wasn't acceptable, was willing to take action when they felt violated or that a boundary had been crossed or whatever the case may be. Those people didn't come in that environment. They weren't
Right,
in the environment of
right,
food security and
right,
coddles and love and all the things. So I'm saying for that group of people, because I get, again, it's like looking at the people who have ascended to some of the highest heights. A lot of them, you look at their lineage and you're like, well, yeah, I mean, you kind of had, it was the pathway that was
right.
carved for you. They helped enable you. But then there are the people who still get there and didn't have any of that. So my question is,
Okay.
how did they get there?
Well, based on, I'll use myself and I'll use, because I have to tell you how I got there, how I'm getting here, right? with some type of coherence. When I read Harriet Tubman, just saying, I think I should be drooling based on what I went through. But um, based on what Harriet Tubman said, there were two pivotal things that happened to her. Number one, she experienced for her the way she responded to extreme pain and violence. I think sometimes I can go either way. If I stub my toe, I'm gonna have a reaction,
Mm-hmm.
right? Somebody else is gonna react to that differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that is, like I said, based on how I'm put together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When she got hit in the head, well, when the master like hit some in her head
Mm-hmm.
and it injured her, actually. She talks about as a result of that going into some type of trance states and sometimes unconsciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So she was able to tune out all of the trauma and just hear a pure voice,
Mm-hmm.
like her words. So she was able to get to this space to where that trauma wasn't always influencing her at
Okay.
all times. And there was another thing she said. She said that her master, colonizer, whatever, kidnapper, used to say, "Give me liberty or give me death," because of the American Revolution going on.
Mm-hmm.
And not well, precursor to um
The Civil War and all that.
Civil War. Yeah. And so she said she analyzed that and thought that's a possibility, right? So she was like, he said it so often, that's what her brain started to interpret because her life was so violent. There was no buffer between her and violence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so with that clear voice that she had, that she said protected her, um, and with the cognition and recognition that this was a possibility, she was able to somehow reorganize her, I think with the help of God, y'all, with reorganize her nervous system so that she could function and stay coherent through planning, right? Through staying coherent enough to regulate other people, whether it was a gun or not, right? There was something about her that was so focused and so still, but she definitely attributes that head injury to that.
Okay.
Um, um, Nat Turner, I have not read his story specifically. Um, I watch too many movies like other people. But I think this is the thing. When I read autobiographies, there's usually one person in their environment, one person that validates their existence, that mirrors them somewhere. Whether it's somebody they heard or that they watched, but a mama, even though it was violent, they had that mama who believed in them, right? They had that auntie who witnessed them. But usually there's some type of mirroring going on, right? And they latch onto that mirror and they take it as nurturing and comfort. Um, Now, those are the big accomplishments. But I think for some people, their successes might look minimal, like somebody deciding to just go to school and get a
Mm-hmm.
degree, or
Yeah.
somebody deciding
Yeah.
not to kill their husband. Like, yay.
Yeah. Not in
Right?
an
I'm
orange
not in jail.
jumpsuit. Congratulations. That's correct. Yeah.
Right. Somebody fighting depression, right? Taking their medicine,
Mm-hmm.
being coherent enough to stay functional to where they're not a harm to themselves or others. And in today's society, that's a really big damn deal.
That's a big feat. Mm-hmm.
Because some folks running off at the mouth violently,
Mm-hmm.
and can't seem to keep their thoughts
Because of the
towards
medicine.
love, right? Um, so that type of coherence is, so I'll say for me, unfortunately, you called it experiential learner.
Experiential learners. Gotta love them.
So for me, because I could not reconcile my body and the voice. I did not trust what that voice was telling me. I did not trust my inner voice. I didn't trust the voice. I didn't trust it. So, through great programming, I learned to disassociate. So it took me, unfortunately, to the point of having children who were not dissociative to see their trauma. And somehow when I saw their trauma, that mirror of, oh shit, this is what I'm doing. These are the choices I make. It's impacting them.
Mm-hmm.
Then that was my that was my trigger and my health that was failing me. Um, to realize, am I going to die here? I'm going to die here. I'm going to die here, and I'm traumatizing these kids, right? By staying here and by not being able to get in my body and figure this stuff out. So for me, it was seeing the suffering in someone else and then my body being so incapacitated that it was affecting my life
Okay.
and my ability to take care of myself. And unfortunately, a lot of us are there. I think the Alcoholics Anonymous says when things are too painful to remain the same, that's when
Yeah,
most people
that's
change.
when. Oh, yeah, that's when everybody changes. That's 99.99% of the population. Even people who are not necessarily fall into the thing of experiential learners, but usually, if
Yeah.
things, and I can tell you, even in my profession, when I start workshops with leaders, and the very first question I ask them when they're talking about they want to do some type of transformation in an organization and we need to do this and whatever, and our vision is whatever. And I'm like, okay, are you dissatisfied with the current state of the organization? Right. And if they're like, well, no, there's, I mean, it's, then I'm out. I'm like, yeah, we can close out this statement of work.
Because
I
it
don't want no
ain't not
parts
gonna
because it
change.
ain't never gonna happen. Whatever you think is about to happen, and I'm not supposed to be on the hook for some stuff that you're not ready to make happen. It's
That's
not
true.
until you get those leaders in the room and they're like, this is crazy. I'm not happy with the way things are going. This don't make no sense. We're inefficient. We're ineffective. We're whatever, blah, 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 right? Then you're like, okay, we can work with this.
Ah, okay, okay. I'm gonna loop this around to Black women, which is interesting about how we allow people to treat us. Because in my life experience, this is what we're taught. And I used to see this when I was at U of H and I was like, in them streets, like them 20 somethings, like I'm a protest. We gonna get the man. Um, when you start speaking up as a woman, Black woman, double sometimes, then the person in your life that calls that complaining or starts to character assassinate.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have a baseline of self-respect or self-esteem, all of that,
Right.
then that falls back into you and you
Yeah.
believe it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So for us, I think that's what our program has been. Like, we'll be like, hey, I want to change it. Da, 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 da. And the church will say this, and maybe somebody else will say this, and the news will say this, and then somehow we.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, that is a thing, right? Like, and then you have the polar opposite of that, which is like toxic positivity, where you have people who are clearly in a state that everyone else would deem to be completely unacceptable,
Debauchery.
right? I mean,
Debauchery.
completely unacceptable. Um,
Yeah.
and what they are trying to coin as hope and optimism is really toxic positivity because there's no data points that suggest that the direction you're moving in is going to, if you continue moving in that direction, and you continue saying that what's happening is okay and it's okay because we're going to keep working at it and trying to make whatever work, and everybody should just be big smiles and happy, and you're in a toxic workplace, for example, they're like, we'll just have pizza on Friday, it'll be fine, we'll just do ice cream socials, whatever. Like, it's not gonna be fine. It's not. There are legit issues here, and it's fine. It's perfectly fine. There's a I forgot what the proverb is and who the proverb came from, but there's like a proverb where you can actually sit in discontent and content simultaneously, and they both be true at the same time. So you can see things that need to improve and to not acknowledge those things that need to improve while only acknowledging the things that bring contentment and that seem to be working and are okay is a whole different problem set in and of itself.
It sounds like denial. That's not denial.
I mean, call it yes, yes. I mean, other people would say, if you were in church, they would say, "Oh, I left that put that problem on the Lord on the altar." Right? So I'm not even going to think about that problem because I gave it to God.
Let
I'm
me
be
tell
over
you
here
something.
with the right with the stuff
Let
that
me, you see this gray hair? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. And I'm saying this because I will never forget. I was talking to this girl who was in her 20s. And I remember something my mama told me and something I experienced when I was like 40. Okay. It was the whole body positivity thing, right? Was raised very conservative, right? Raised you ain't gonna be hoeing around, right? Keep your legs closed, all that. In the meantime, I went to high school with some girls who seemed to be just fine, right? They were popular, right? They were doing their thing. They seem to have the best clothes and the brands because, when you're young, that's what you're looking
That's
at,
true. That's
right?
what you care about.
Materialism and stuff.
Yeah.
And you get to your 20s and you might hear, or, Facebook was a thing. You start seeing like, hey, they doing their thing. The world is still revolving around them. And I'm over here, like trying to hold it down, hold it together. And there's nothing about time. There's everything about time,
Mm-hmm.
right? What I realize is your body does not lie.
Your body, yeah.
Body don't lie. Because baby, who was, like you said, that hard life,
And
the
hard
hard
life,
20s,
child. You 20 and looking like you 50.
okay, that uterus is okay. The uterus is very good at carrying out consequences. Now, some people may not care, but when I learned that she fights back and you will submit like a toad it was stubbed,
That's hilarious.
and that's what we weren't. That's what I realized the church was trying to say or news was trying to say. But once I experienced personally what all this does to the body, the cost, the time, the doctors, the fools involved, the babies that you may have, the entanglement, like your mental health,
Mm-hmm.
it all has a cost.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look up at 48 and Negroes dead at 40,
I know.
diseased at
I,
22,
a lot.
I mean, your stuff is inflamed, hanging off, turned green, and fell out. You look like you 100.
She done bypassed 50 and jumped to 100. Okay.
I mean, cause let me tell you, you get a certain age, and I'm seeing these girls half my age look like they had 3 kids in a divorce.
Oh, yeah. A couple of the boys. They look in
I'm
the
like, damn,
Mm-hmm.
what's happening? Where
Mm-hmm.
you be? And you in high school?
I know.
In high school? Like, baby, I didn't look like this after having 3 kids and deal with the men's. All that stress on my life. So this is my thing. People will say whatever. People will say whatever. They can be body, with toxic, whatever. Your body does not lie. Time does not lie, right? The consequences, or you could just say the natural occurrences based on our choices, reveal themselves.
Right.
You ain't got to say a thing. After a while,
Yeah, I mean, you usually don't like time will reveal most of the things. It may not reveal the details, but the general thematic events, it will share with the universe and the world and everybody.
I remember this young girl telling me, she said she was so proud of what she said because, when you're young, you think you're the first one to come up with it. And so she was like, I should be able to wear what I should be able to wear what I want to. I said, okay. And she said, you don't have nothing to say? I said, well, experience will teach you if that's the route that you want to go. Experience will teach you to go ahead and walk down the street with your titties out. I said, now look, I loves being naked. I think if we could go back to the garden and when nobody bothered me, I'd be one fat, happy, naked woman. I'd just be sloshing around. So if they made a law tomorrow and men's wasn't nasty and people wasn't nasty, I'd be right there with the best of them. I sure would. Hairy and everything, y'all.
Yeah.
But reality says that I'm going to attract some things. I'm going to experience some
Law
things
of
that I don't want to
attraction.
experience.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, I mean, look, whether you want the consequences or not, they exist, right? I feel like I should also be able to eat whatever I want to eat. I mean, it's the equivalent. I feel like I should be able to just eat
True.
cheesecake all goddamn day long.
So
However, my
true.
body will be like, at some point in time, probably around day 30, it's going to be like, look, let me tell you something, girl. You need other nutrients than what's in here. We need some magnesium.
Thank you.
Right? Like,
Thank you.
so it doesn't, people think that what you want is a reality. And I'm like, generally what you want oftentimes is a lie. Like oftentimes what you feel and what you want, them things be the biggest lies of the whole universe of all the things. Um
Yeah,
and
it's
so
just a
yeah, I mean, and I think the body positivity thing, look, I think you should always be secure in yourself no matter what.
it's just projection.
Period. That's just what it is. But I also think the body positivity situation, um, previously and currently, as evidenced by people who were leading it, who are now on their weight loss journey. I'm just saying, it's people out here who was like, skinny girls, they love it. Skinny girls, skinny. Now you can take a shot and be skinny, and now it's okay
It was
to be a
just
skinny girl.
projection. It was just
Now it's
projection.
great to be a
It
skinny
was a
girl.
coping mechanism.
It's a
That's
coping mechanism. But the problem is people who are on your platform and are you part of your fan base,
what.
they don't know the pain that you have inside and that you're projecting because you really do want to be thin, but you just haven't figured out how to get there. But as soon as you get there, everything that you was talking about the skinny girl is about to go to the wayside because now you get to be a skinny girl. So the thing with me was that body positivity is important. You should feel 100% secure in whatever you are walking around in, period. And you also need to recognize where you need to improve, period. Your body, I don't care what nobody says, and as a person who also needs to shed some pounds, your body was not intended to pack around an extra 200-300 pounds on top of its regular demand. That's not how it was designed. It's not designed to do that. And you can talk about I'm healthy and my numbers are fine. Yeah, because you're 22. That's why they're fine.
Okay.
That's why
Okay.
they're
Because the
fine.
knees don't lie.
Because
That's
you're
all I'm gonna
22.
say. The hips joints don't lie. My
Correct.
hip
When you stick
flexors
into it, ain't gonna work like
are
that.
struggling.
That's
Okay.
correct. That's
And
correct.
I think this is the wonderful thing about this. This is what's so hilarious about this. That sometimes the loudest fool, right, gets the platform. But for those who don't have good guidance, right, and people who speak the truth and actually have experience, um, it's exactly this. My butt is a muscle, and I need those muscles in my butt, and I've learned, right, in order to walk properly,
That's correct.
right? And if I don't continue to do these exercises, then it's gonna affect my ability to walk, y'all, and my uterus gonna be shifting and sloshing around. Now, people don't want to say that, but ultimately, I hate exercise, but because I need to walk every day, I
Right.
have learned I gotta do them.
Gotta
I
do
gotta
them.
do them. Okay.
Gotta do
And I
them.
like it's not like an option anymore because I'm not 22.
Correct. Correct.
Right?
Correct. You could eat a whole cake when you were 16 for a lot of people. I mean, I couldn't, but a lot of people could eat a whole cake when you're 16. You're 16. You are 16. It's the same thing, people who delay having, they want to have family, but they also want to build a career. You cannot have everything all at once.
Okay.
Your body, no matter what Western civilization has told you, your body is prime for baby birthing at 18, 19, 20, 21.
I
Those
dare to
are
say
the
15, 16, baby. I
yeah,
would have been
15 and
popping.
16, correct. You are prime. Your whole body is prime and ready to go. It will do the thing the way it's, you could drop it in a field and keep walking.
That's right.
When you 35 and 40,
I'm a witness.
it look a little different. It's gonna look a little different. It's gonna
I'm still
look
recovering.
a little different. Your eggs are older. You had them eggs since you was born, before you was born. The same eggs from before you was born was there.
That's right.
Your eggs are older.
You tired. You
You're
tired.
tired.
You not patient.
Your
You
hormones are
tired.
starting to do different things. Your metabolic system is starting to change. And
You
now
know I'm
you
deep in
want to put
kids because you
another
tired.
creature in there to draw on all of that? Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
especially when you having your first one. So look. This is, and you're right. This is the thing because they're like, oh, Janet Jackson had a baby 50. I'm sure Janet Jackson
And it had
had
a team
five,
of
10,000
doctors.
nannies.
She had 97,000 nannies and 52,000 doctors. That's what she had. That's what she had. Um, so people, I don't think,
And we don't know if the egg was hers, but moving
again,
on.
we
Okay.
don't. We don't know what we have no idea. And that's her business. She don't need to share the world,
That's
whatever.
right.
But I'm just saying, you don't know. What we do know though is that as you age, things change. And
Yeah.
it's great. Look, I get it. It's why I don't
Nobody
have no
tells you.
kids. I was like, look, I want to have all the things for myself.
Freedom,
And I
freedom.
want freedom. And I got stuff I need to do in the world.
You
And I
want to be
don't
priority in your life.
correct. So I was like, let me not do this. Not now, and not once I'm comfy. Once I'm comfy, I'm not gonna be comfy until I'm like 40-ish. I'm not trying to walk around. No, that's not happening. So look, just because you know, again, and I'm
This is good.
not a fan of Paul by any means necessary. Okay, let me tell you, by any of the means that are necessary, I'm not a fan of him. However, he did say some things. Broke clocks can be right twice a day. Uh, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. I think lies. I think ultimately denial, lies. People are not out here telling the truth, especially when it comes to girls and,
Correct.
sex, babies, anything relationships. People
I
are
mean,
just
everybody not telling the truth.
they just not
No,
telling.
I mean, girls, boy, I have heard guys who have sons talk about how they educated, like when they're, like again, and when you're a kid, you have a body, you figuring out your fingers, your toes, you're figuring out your genitalia, all of that.
Mhm.
And guys, grown men have, I've heard them, not all of them, but I've heard some grown men say that when their sons were like figuring out their little appendage that's now hanging from their little body,
Where's my book?
they're talking to them about women and I'm like, that's not even what that's about at that age. I'm like, at that age, you're sexualizing something that doesn't even need to be sexualized. You're planting that. See, this kid just
Wait, break
figured
that
out his
down. Break that
wardrobe.
down. What do you mean? So I'll make sure I'm on the same page. What do you mean?
So, like, if you're talking to your 5-year-old who just figured out he has a penis,
Yeah.
this is not about girls. It's not about sex. It's about exploration of your own body. I got 10 fingers. I'm
Oh,
trying to figure out what to do with my 10 fingers.
oh yeah.
I have ears that function in a way. I have a penis. I have a vagina. I have a whatever. I have a
Yeah.
anus. All the things that you have. It's not about it's not about sexual organs and
Or
sexual
relationships
hormones.
and
At
stuff.
that point in time, they just trying to figure out what they parts of bodies are here for. And at that point in time, that part of the body is there to excrete urine.
All right.
You have a little hole, a little one-eyed snake, pee pee come out.
Yeah. So what are the men saying to these boys? What are you saying that they're saying?
They're like, oh yeah, that's girl. You're gonna use that with girls and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
like,
That's what
yeah,
they're
and
talking
then, if you don't have a girl, you might need to do something on
about.
your own
Idiots,
with
idiots,
it. I'm like, that's not
idiots,
even what it's about. What are y'all
idiots,
talking about?
idiots, idiots. Listen to me. So look, this is my
Everybody
thing.
being lied to. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's being
Not
lied
being
to, and
allowed to.
everybody's being set up for not success. Because now
Mm.
you've got that little boy thinking at 5 that this thing is a tool, not just for urine, which is what it is at this point in time, but you have him taking it out of context of how it's used, and it's used for women and all this other stuff that you're talking about. And in reality, that's not the conversation you should be having. That's not the foundation that you should be laying at that age for that person.
So this is the crazy. I don't know what's going on out there now, but I have not because raised in Texas. Um, and it was like don't ask, don't tell, basically, when it came to human sexuality. So I don't know of any comprehensive, non-perverted platform or space where people actually talk about anatomy with their children without shame attached to it, like just the scientific thing of like you're saying, a body and a skeleton. It's just so much shame attached to it, or parents literally don't deal with it because nobody talked to them. Like it's
Yeah,
not even a thought.
correct.
And then you somehow address it because, oh, shit, you're 15, I forgot. You're 16, I forgot. Now we have to talk about this stuff. But usually it's not even a
It's not even a thought on anybody.
people
Yeah,
not even
anybody's. Yeah, and then you focus it on the one area. You focus it purely on genitalia, and I'm like, quite honestly, my entire body. Don't touch me unless I've invited you to touch me.
those that goes into consent.
Period.
It goes
Right?
into
Don't touch
consent.
my
Yeah.
shoulder. Don't touch my earlobe. Don't people pat you on your back. Don't do none of that. Don't put your hands on me at all unless I've invited you. So it has nothing to do with whether you have touched somebody's penis, somebody's vagina. Like it should start way before then.
I'm telling you,
Your
these
body
are
is
new
your
thoughts.
entire body, head to toe. It's yours first
These
and
this
foremost.
what you're saying? This is new. A lot of it sounds, and when I say new, meaning if I just take us is black women, so if I just stick with our culture, number one, that's not generally taught. If it is taught, it's very new. Number three, it is culturally frowned upon. And spiritually, I was taught, your body is not your own. Like, right? That God first, other second, yourself last. So there's so much programming
Mm.
that goes on with especially black women and our bodies, hello,
Mhm.
and historically literally being owned.
Right.
So the sense that I'm autonomous in my flesh, I have to stay is still something I have to translate for myself.
Yeah.
That I'm autonomous in my flesh, even in the workplace, even amongst my children, right?
Right.
So that takes a completely different, it's deeper than mindset because our bodies are so hyper vigilant. Usually,
Mm-hmm.
usually, if you were raised as a regular black person with black people issues, our bodies are usually so hyper vigilant because let's do a basic example. Somebody reached out and touched my daughter's hair without permission.
Yeah. Don't touch my hair.
And I'm like, that should be a citation. I should be
That's a
able to call the
violation.
cops on
That's a
you for that.
violation. Yeah.
But
That's
how many
assault.
black people have people come reached think that they
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying though, because the only conversations we have are around the sexualization of certain organs, right?
Mhm.
So of course, if you're a person who's been sexually assaulted or abused or whatever, it didn't start there. It didn't
Right.
nobody just walked up and grabbed your booty. That's not usually how it starts. Usually it starts with uncle so and so or a friend of so and so. They just touch your shoulder
Right. And they think they're entitled to
and they think they're
touch you.
entitled to your shoulder. And you don't know because nobody told you your shoulder is yours and shouldn't nobody. They only told you it's a problem when somebody go below your belt.
That's true. That's true.
Don't let nobody keep your legs closed. Don't let nobody. Okay, but what about everything else that leads to that?
Everything else.
This person is grooming me for to get me comfortable, so that then when they go below my belt, I'm like, oh, what's not no problem with that because they did all this other stuff. So it's fine.
Right. You should have been touching me in the first
You shouldn't have been touching me in the
place.
first place.
No, that okay. Can we make a consent flag? Like literally,
I
like I
want a
think Black
shirt that
American
says
women
"Do not touch me."
or just Black people, period, because I think, like you said, that is 90% of the issue. We can just say consent because the way I'm raising my children now, because of all this trauma, and I forget her name, but I had a uh parent supported unity. I forget her name, but she did a really, really good job. She works at or used to work at Fort Bend Women Center. She's the first one who had all this psychological data that because I love good receipts. And she was talking about consent based on a traumatic experience with her and her kids. She was talking about consent and how the children had to learn how to stop and give consent to one another. And
Mm-hmm.
I took that practice a couple years ago. And I started to teach my boys, especially, right? Um, that no, you have to ask permission to play because we're misinterpreting cues. So
Correct.
ask him, do you want to play? And when you're done playing, you need to tell him, I'm not playing anymore.
Correct.
Right? So we're not, but that was revolutionary to some like me because growing up, right, snatched, hit, anybody could touch me, anybody could whoop me, you just kind of belong to the community. You
The
just kind of
community.
out here, right? And I didn't know that that was still embedded in me, even into late adulthood, to where there was a sense of I don't belong to myself. How do I protect myself? Which goes back to what we were talking about Black American women speak, right?
Mhm.
How do I teach people how to treat me when I don't even understand the basics of consent
Right.
with my body? So if I have trouble understanding the concept of consent with my body, of course I have problems with the consent of you saying something that is
Correct.
in violation with my principles,
Correct.
right? So I love what you're saying because it bleeds into consent, period. Body, right? The indicators that I miss, that you're insults,
Mm-hmm.
right? Things that I allow myself to
Because your
experience.
eyes and ears are just as much a part of your body as anything else. So whatever's coming into my eardrum, if I don't want to hear it, I'm leaving. That's what I'm doing.
That
If I don't
is
want to see it,
revolutionary.
I'm leaving.
That is revolution. Did you see the post that Jill Scott, which you would probably think this was very sad because she just announced this. And I think she said at 50, I don't know if she put her age on it, but she was like, I will no longer be around people who haven't been loved.
You haven't been in what?
Haven't been loved. She was like, if you
Oh.
have not been loved, I don't
And
want to be nowhere near you.
and you can't just use this the other thing. You can't just use that word love, right? Like
Yeah. I love to break it
because
down. But
well,
yeah,
because right, everybody has a different definition, right? So for the person who because my husband and I were having this conversation and we were talking about how people define friendship and all this other stuff. And and it's people who get their head put through a wall every night and somebody's telling them they love them, and that's love, right? So it's not even enough. Like, there's a reason I say this all the time, and I do it even with, again, in companies. I do it in companies when I run workshops and stuff. We start by defining terms, make sure everybody on the same
that's
term.
true.
Like, we need to make sure we all are coming at this with the same understanding because we all have different life. So for the case of this workshop, this is what these terms
Yeah.
mean, right? And it's
Yes.
the same thing. You'll see it if you've ever read a piece of legislation. At the very beginning of contracts, of legislation, of all of
They
that,
define those
they
terms.
define terms. For this particular document you are reading, a person is any entity that, because if you say person to me, I'm thinking flesh and bone, not in the legal sense, child. You just be a mailbox somewhere and be a person. I mean, so you really do have to define the term to say this is what I mean by that.
I think that's exactly what we need. Everybody, period, but especially Black women, because defining the term, like you said, let's get very clear what the terms are. When I say love, I'm saying love is a structure. It is not emotion. It is not a feeling. Love is how you demonstrate compassion through support, safety, safety. If it ain't safe, it is not love, right? Compassion, right? My consent
Mm-hmm.
matters to you.
Yeah.
So right there, look, in my life, if I look back, that was 99% of folks shouldn't have been in my life based on that structure of love, not the feeling that I was misinterpreting, but that structure. Am I safe here? Right? Is there compassion here? Is there empathy here under the structure of safety?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is there trust here?
Mm-hmm.
Is there truth here?
Mm-hmm.
That's 99% of most people relationship in a trash.
In the trash. In the trash.
So when I say love, I'm talking about that structure. Truth, trust, safety, compassion, care, support.
Empathy. Yep.
Emphasis on safety.
Mm-hmm.
Because as Black women, I don't know about anybody else, but we talked about a lot of us at that meeting about not experiencing true safety,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you worried about how other people going to treat you.
Yeah.
So we can stop there. In fact, let's not even call it love. Let's call it safety.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We got to start the foundation because without safety, there is no what you call love.
You can't. Yeah, you can't. You can't.
And you can't have safety without consent.
That's correct.
Emotional, spiritual, right?
All of it. Yep. Yeah. It's
So let's
true.
just stop. Let's just stop there.
Yeah.
Safety and consent, Black people.
But I don't think people think about it in those terms.
They don't.
I
They
really,
don't. But I tell you, I have had to break it down like that for myself because I couldn't, because the body doesn't lie. I couldn't figure out why my body was responding the way it was. It was responding very viscerally and very violently. And because I have these children who mimic and mirror, right, who they also were very violent at one
yeah.
time. So I'm like, what is it that I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
that I'm getting this outcome?
Yeah.
And I mean, I had to find it. I had to find it because guess what's evidence? Your blood pressure is evidence. Your stomach is evidence. Your digestive system is evidence.
Your
Your skin is
anxiety.
evidence. Your anxiety
We run around here talking about they ain't got anxiety, and I'm like,
anxiety is evidence. What has access to me?
yep.
What has access to me? What am I allowing? Right? What am I tolerating? What am I calling love that is not love?
And
So
a
I have,
lot of people, and part of the problem is that a lot of people have a hard time with that because they want to believe so badly that there is love in a space where there should be love, right? Where you think about it, like with family,
yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
friends, right? You want so badly to believe that this has to be love because
It's mama, it's daddy.
yeah, right, like there's got to be it, and that's not necessarily true, and that doesn't necessarily mean, and I think people think that that means, oh, these people are going to hell in a handbasket. I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying that whatever relationship you're in, familial or platonic, whatever that is, um, not everybody is going to be willing and capable,
That's so
more
true.
so willing than capable, but willing and capable of um, demonstrating your definition of love to you.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I really personally had to take the because it's taken me 25 years to deconstruct this. And I say that because if I think of it as like a house, like where all those things I mentioned are beams in my house, they're literally are the things that prop up my nervous system,
Right,
technically, right? Because I was the one who suffered from anxiety, depression, all this stuff.
right,
So if I say safety, empathy, trust, care, support, and truth is what I'm constructed of. That's my covenant. That's love's covenant with me. Okay. So that's what I'm made of. That's my house. That's my internal structure. Okay. If someone's internal structure is not dominated by that, right? Then let's say it's fear. Let's say it's covered over with fear, is dominant with them.
right,
Okay. It's a structural issue, right? It's not even personal because that fear is going to manifest through them in whatever environment they're in.
correct,
It's just that I have to keep my structure intact. It's like I'm not going to demonize you because you can drink milk and I don't.
right,
That's the way my body operates.
correct.
So I've had to do that for myself. And at the same time, tell people, just like I tell them I'm gluten free,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's going to mess me up if I eat
Correct,
that. This is my structure. Like, oh, no, no, I can't do that. I can't go there or I can't engage in that with that
correct,
person
correct.
because I need to keep my house in order, literally.
Yeah, yeah. And anyone who continues to try to make you eat gluten probably doesn't love you.
Okay, Ike Turner.
Eat the
Right?
cake,
Anime and that
eat the
cake.
cake, anime, eat cake. So, and again, people, I don't know why it's so disturbing to people to be like, oh yeah, no, my parents raised me, right? You can be like, oh yeah, my parents raised, but they didn't love me, right? And that's perfectly fine. I don't know why that's such a horrible. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why that's like
Like they are not governed by the same laws. I guess that's what I try to say. They're not governed by the same structure. They're not governed by the same law,
correct,
right?
correct.
And that's okay because guess what? My house is made a little different, but I
That
need this house to function
that is
in this
correct.
way. So I think another thing about this, when we talk about consent, I have to be sane, empathetic enough, compassionate enough to allow the thing to be what it is.
Right,
This is the apple.
right.
Do you want an apple? No. Then let's not eat an apple. But if you want an orange, that's not what that is. That's an apple.
That's correct.
But
And
I think,
until you can call it, you'll never have it.
ooh, it's so cute. No, this is deep because I think this is the crazy making. This is the gaslighting. I think this is it.
Yes,
That we have been so gaslit into something telling us, no, this is love.
this is love. This your
This
mama.
is
They love you. I gotta love you. They your mama. No,
no,
they
no, it's still
don't.
love. I know,
They just had to
I know he
birth
punched you
you.
in the eye, but this is love, right? I know they don't support you or care, demonstrate care, but it's love.
Correct.
No, no, that's not what that is. And I think this is the thing. I remember this part in my marriage. I had to get to the point that when I was honest enough to tell that person what I needed, right? This is the way that I function. This is the way I operate. I need this in order to exist here because what you're saying and doing, it hurts so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But in order for me to get there, I had to realize that once I said it, they may not care. It may not be their priority. Hence, I may not be their priority.
Correct.
Okay. And I had to get to the point that I was willing, what I was calling love, what I was calling health, and everything else, saying that if they didn't agree, then I had to accept that
Right.
and save myself,
Right.
honor myself. That see, love has integrity,
Right.
right? And it stands and it doesn't bend.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is not everybody, a lot of people break against it. They
Mm-hmm.
break against it. And the thing is, we want people so bad,
It's so bad.
right, to be where we are. And so we don't even, like you're saying, we won't even admit the truth because that means that they're going to break against it. And
Correct.
then this relationship is over. So we're refusing to grieve,
Correct.
basically. It's gonna hurt. But do you want to be dead or do you want to hurt? Like for me, literally, it got to the point where my doctor was like, do you want to die?
Right.
Because whatever's stressing you out in 30 to 90 days,
Mm.
there'll be evidence that this stress is enough to take your life. Do you want to have a major stroke? Basically, is what they told me. We can't guarantee this wasn't a mini stroke.
Right.
Whatever's stressing you out, unless you change your life, you're going to get evidence in about 90 days.
Right. Well, and you should only recognize that it's only going to hurt as much as you've been programmed.
Well, this is why I disagree.
No, it's only going to hurt as much as you've been programmed. So we believe that generally speaking, across the 8 billion people who are on this planet, people believe that, there's the saying, blood is thicker than water, family before everything. You have all these things. These are all things that are programming you to believe said things. And which often makes you a little blind, or you put on the rose colored glasses, or you choose to ignore the behaviors of those people who the program has told you these people over everything. And and that's the program. Because in all honesty, family is just a word for people who you share genetic material with at the most
Oh,
basic
that's pretty
sense.
major
That's it.
though.
That's it. It just so happened that my spirit dropped into this egg in this womb with this semen that carried me for 9 months, that produced me, that then and you know, and then that's it.
Mhm.
It's a genetic tie. That's family at the most basic sense of it. Can family be more than that? Yes. But if it's not, similarly to any friendship, can you find another human being that can be more than just another random human being on the planet to you? Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Can you find a job that gives you fulfillment and passion and all of that? Yes, you can. You can. You can. Most of us don't have
I
the
love, I
money,
have to say that by faith.
but you
Okay.
can. But you can. There are people out there who are like living their best life at their job, right?
That's true. That's
You know,
true.
right? Great. Fantastic. Is that the story for everyone? No. Does it have to be the story for everyone? No, right? But the program has you believing that this has to be the singular story for everybody. So that's what I'm
That's
like, it's only going to hurt as deep as the program runs.
well, and that's this the thing for a lot of us. I'll go back to the stubbing the toe, right? Because some things that should have hurt for me don't hurt for some reason, right? Some people would break over it, but I'm like, okay, it's just another Tuesday. So I realize some certain things that are simple for others can be like excruciating for others based on, like you said, how deep the program runs. If this is, you know how black folks say generational curses, is this is something that is so deep in your neurobiology and you don't have another map or template out of it, and you are neurologically enmeshed with this other person because you don't have a center or a self, then yes, that can feel excruciating until you get to the point where you can see yourself again.
Right.
So I'm not going to say that certain pain that I've experienced, certain points of grief, I think it would have been easier to just die, honestly. Like,
I'm sure.
you know.
I'm sure.
However, on the other side of that, once that thing clicks and you get some clarity, sort of like at our age, we look back in our 20s and we're like, why was that so hard? So simple, right?
Mhm.
Right? And you can clearly see yourself the way out of it, which is, I think, which is why we're technically supposed to be in community, healthy communities, have healthy mentors for people who can see a pathway and help
Right.
you walk through that or tell you, oh, that's really not a big deal, but let me tell you what it is if you keep doing it,
Right.
right?
Right.
That is very important, which is why transition. When we were running Black American Speak, Women Speak, a lot of women were saying they wanted community, right? That maybe we don't have community
Right.
that speaks honestly, viscerally, um, in order to walk our pathway because we have so many common traumas. We're not trying to trauma bond, but there's enough of us to give sound wisdom in the midst of all this chaos, especially for the young girls under us. I forget, we're like, okay, we're the child, my brother is a great grandfather. I
Hmm.
forget, right, that we are the great grandparents now. We're the grandparents now
Yeah.
that are supposed to be shepherding these girls. There's literally no reason to make 99% of the mistakes that they're making because somebody has the answer. But are we
Experiential
available?
learners, though.
But I have to say, but this is my thing. Are we as available? Now, I'm not talking about those who, like you said, some people just got to go through it. I
Some
get it.
people like to go through it,
Somebody,
man.
they
I'd be
want
like,
to,
I don't know why you want to go through this. It's been
some people,
72 playbooks that's been written on this.
some
That's
of
why
them
you
want to go
don't need to
through
go
it.
through this.
But for those who are literally searching, and there are so many loud fools talking, and they literally are just lacking the wisdom because they don't know where to get it. And for that, I empathize
Yeah.
when I peek into, because now, right, I'm the age of the senior pastor and the pastor wives. When I look into half these churches and I see these people talking, and I'm like, you know, you lying to these people because, honey, you old enough to have had that divorce. You know that didn't work on your first wife, a second wife, right? You know your kids are jacked up because you raised them just like your parents raised you. Like they're old enough to have known better, but you teaching the same trash.
But
That's
here's
what
the
I'm like.
thing. But this is the thing. This is why it'd be hard for me to get on that train.
Okay.
I'll be on the platform at the train station. I see the train coming, and I'll be like, yeah, no. Because we there was a point in time in the 90s, let's say, right? Up into the 90s, maybe even early 2000.
Okay.
We just thought people, well, me, I don't know about other people. I was just like, okay, people don't have information. That's why they stupid. Fair. You don't have access. You're going to be unintelligible because you don't have access. Now, though, you have literally every single thing and every single voice in the palm of your hand. There is no denying access. There is no denying the information. If you want to know if turtles sleep upside down, you can go find out right now on the internet if turtles sleep upside down. The information is plentiful for you to hear, not just two sides of the story. You can hear
And a
a
billion.
360 view
It's true. It's true.
of every piece of the perspective of that particular argument. You can hear it. So
That's
it's
true.
very hard for me to be like, well, they just don't have the information. That's
Well, I'm not,
why they
but I'm
follow
not
these
saying,
crazy people.
but I'm not saying that they don't have the information. And I'm gonna speak to the I'm gonna say this and it's gonna break my heart. I'm gonna say to the kids, because now they're adults, born after 2000, who i.e. would be their parents. So let me give them some grace because baby, if I had a baby 2000, all right. Anyway, um, I'm realizing this, and this is why I need to talk to more young folks. It's not the access to information, it's the absence of critical thinking, comprehension, and wisdom. And in
And
those
wisdom, yes.
and in those years, if that is not mirrored for you, because it can be overwhelming and frustrating to have all that, the access can be overwhelming. It can do the opposite effect, right? Things were narrowed for us. We could focus. These are the ADHD, like they got so much coming at them at one time that they can shut down because it's like too much. How do I decide? I have the universe. Like which direction do I go in? They can literally go in a different direction every second. Look at TikTok. Look at you. Look at all that stuff they can do.
Mm-hmm.
So because this, right, that executive function, whatever prefrontal cortex stuff is not developed or is developed around it, because we were full adults by the time we had access to all that, right? Um,
High schooly.
I didn't have access to the internet. I didn't know what the internet was until I went to college. And the internet
I had a
wasn't.
whole computer. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, I'm gonna take a bathroom break.
Oh, okay. Take a bathroom break.
Okay.
No. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. And we won't be here next week. So,
Okay. When did you come back? Next, the next one, next week.
Yeah.
1 week.
January.
January.
Like January 5th.
Fifth.
I think is the 5th a Monday or a Tuesday? I can text you.
Yes, please.
I'll text you.
Thank you, Nana.
Thank
Have a good
you.
trip.
You too. You too.
Enjoy your vacations.
We will. We will. Thank
Where
you.
do you leave the girls?
They're gonna board. We have a place we bring them to board. Yeah. They have a good time. They get to play and swim and run around.
Cool.
So yeah.
Okay, have a good time.
All right. Bye. Look at us coming back at the same time. Okay.
Okay, so we were talking about access,
We're
which
talking
is
about prefrontal cortex.
prefrontal cortex. Okay, so what I'm seeing, because I have three different, right? The 15-year-old who I remember when I introduced him to the tablet, the middle kid, how he interfaces with, and then, Gracie. So something very nefarious about all this happening. But I'm saying this to say that without guidance, without human interface, literally, and without a parent directing and guiding you with that information, it goes off the rails really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Really fast. To the point where I'm like, am I just older? Because I get frustrated and then nobody can have it. No more. Nobody, no, everybody get off. So it is overwhelming trying to keep up what they have access to, shutting down access, realizing you're not mature enough to have this access at the
Yeah,
speed and rate this is coming. Um, without adult intervention, ain't nobody using it the way it's supposed to be used in terms of education. Number
correct.
one,
That is
right?
correct.
Not when they're 6, 7, and all this stuff going on. Um, it is a hot mess. I remember this. I remember if I remember the boy's name, I'd say it too. They were these twins in Quell Glen, and they were good about stealing stuff from whatever store that was across 2234. And back in the day, young people, you actually had, if you wanted to do some naughty stuff like pornography, you had to have a plan.
So you had to
somebody,
have a plan.
somebody had to have tapes, somebody had to have magazines, or you'd have to go steal the magazine because you had to be a certain age to get access to that type of stuff,
Mm.
right? So these boys would plot this nefarious plan and steal these nudie magazines from this store. And I think one time they got caught. But just the fact, the energy, right? The critical thinking, the comprehension, all that stuff it took to plan this crime. Today, Clint,
I don't even know if it took that much though, because I had a lot of cousins who had Playboy magazines and Hustler magazines, and they were not of age.
well, these
I
boys
can
were stealing them.
guarantee
I'm telling you
you.
a fact, they were stealing from the store to get these magazines.
They might have been, but if that's the case, they made it easy because they had like regular editions of the stuff. Like they was,
Okay, well then somebody was giving them
I
access.
mean, it's the equivalent of saying because you can only drink if you're 21. You know how many people out here drinking and they're
That's
not
true.
21? You know
That's
how
true.
many people
Somebody
out
had
here
it.
buying cigarettes and they ain't 18? Like, so I mean, like it happened. Now I do give you the internet does make it a lot easier because you just type it in sex.com or we porno weirdos.com or whatever it is, and you go for broke.
There's just a certain way that we had,
Yeah.
I think that we take for granted. There's a certain way we had to use this, whether it was mailing a letter, waiting for something to be cooked, going to the library and getting a reference book, interlibrary loans,
Mm-hmm.
right? Talking to the person at the reference desk because I really need it and I'm not
Right.
gonna mess it up. I'll bring it right back. Like there were so many negotiations in how we had to interface with humans
Yeah.
that we take for granted because in elementary, these babies coming in from pre-K to fifth grade,
Mm-hmm.
you know immediately the ones who are not interfacing with people.
Yeah. I imagine
Immediately.
they're socially awkward.
Very, very awkward. And after a certain time, that window starts to close, parents.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, all those little idiosyncrasies. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
tried. Anyway, um, they really, 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 really add up and it makes us who we are. So you can have access to the device, but if nobody sat down, for instance, if you're not talking to your children, if you're not having a
Oh,
conversation
I
with them,
agree.
right?
Do
If you're
agree.
as an adult not talking to other people, even that
But
caps
at a minimum, but at a minimum,
you. Hmm.
and then I'm gonna remove the internet and just go to an example
Okay.
that's the tale as old as time, practically.
Okay.
The church and pastors who just be making up stuff. I mean, they just be weaving it like it's a Disney show up there on that stage.
That's what
And
I'm
I'm
talking.
like, now I'm looking in the audience and it looked like everybody got their book. They got the book that's supposed to be the foundation.
No, ain't nobody reading that Bible.
But that's what I'm saying. So whose fault is it? It's not the pastor's fault. I'm not going to blame the pastor.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna tell
blame the
you.
people who actually are holding the arguable truth in their hand, and instead of reading the goddamn thing to figure out, for example, that you don't tithes are not what they are telling you today, what the average mega church man has told you about tithing, because it's right there in his word from
You're not
beginning
gonna
to
get invited
end.
to nobody's church, Natalie. Nobody's.
Just saying, it's right there in the word, rightfully divided. It's in there. You could just go in there and read that yourself, but instead of read, you take the lazy route,
Or
the
the
not
program route, because
responsible route.
it can be right there, and because of your programming, you miss it. Because someone has interpreted for you and laid in your mind that you can literally have the truth in your face, but because of your perception is so shaped that you don't even it's not there for you. And that's happened to me several times when I've reread the Bible, like,
It was there all the time. Yeah, it was there all the time. But I don't know that I don't know if you read it for the purposes of the research that you were doing. So if you had a question about what time should I put my child to bed? Okay, well, you look in the Bible, you're not probably gonna find anything in there about that. I'm just saying. He didn't left that up to you to figure it out. But if you had a question about, you know, should I have sex before marriage according to the Bible? There's plenty of scripture for you to research in the Bible on that topic to come to a determination. But you have to, like, we all read the Bible, and it happens to me too. Like,
oh, but you're
I'll
saying
want a topic, and I'll go back specifically for that topic, and I'll be like, has this been in here all this time? Because I have read this numerous times, but I wasn't reading it in context of what I was thinking about at this moment, right?
that's true. That's true. That's true.
So context, to your point, you say it a lot of times, often is a valuable piece of to give structure to the information that you're, and to make the information stick, the stickiness of the
Yes.
information, right?
Yes.
So that's why I'm just saying it's a lot of information out there, and if you are wondering, you know, who else does this thing, or are there black people who have gone to college? How many black people have a degree? Should I be interested in a degree? There is ample information for you to pick a topic and go down that path and get the data for you to come to a conclusion.
But see, you're saying several things. You're saying several things, and I think this because this is foundational. Some things are foundational to us, right? They are foundational. Um, Now I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying Black people specifically because we have a certain amount of trauma that has kept us in the same space.
Mm-hmm.
If you come from a space like technically what you should be doing, what sounds good, but if you have people in your life at your foundational level, right? At that level where you are developing that are not for you, don't support you, right? Don't have that structure of love, then you are internally fighting against your best
You
interest.
definitely are. I'm
You
not saying
know?
it's the road it's the yellow brick road. I'm definitely not saying that. But think about, for example, here's some anecdotal evidence. So, for example, The Cosby Show came out. It aired back
Yes.
in the 80s. Every black person would huddle around the TV set and tell everybody shut up, and we only get water when we had a commercial break. And that was it. And we loved The Cosby Show. And you got to see a black family with two professional parents who were raising their kids and teaching their kids life lessons throughout the time, right?
Mhm.
Whether that was your life or not your life, you got to see it.
That's true.
Then you had the spinoff of A Different World.
Hmm. That's right.
Again, whether that was your life or not your life, you got to see it. And HBCU registration went up by like 200% or something crazy like that. All because A Different World and Hillman, which was a fake college. It wasn't even a real college. It
College.
wasn't even
That's
a real
right.
college.
That's right.
Um, And so what that tells me then though is that people don't have to have the direct correlation to their life to see something that they think is appealing and say, that is nothing I've seen in my life. I don't know anybody in my life that has done that yet, but that looks cool and I think I want to do it.
Not all the time, but it is a factor. I'm saying
Yeah,
there are mitigating factors to it all. Maybe somebody didn't go then, they went when they were 50. Like that seed is planted. Maybe
yeah,
not them, maybe their kids, but no, seeds are planted. So I'm like, there's lots of seeds that are planted. So
yeah.
which one, like the sperm, gets to fertilize?
Correct. That is going to win. That's correct.
Right,
That's correct.
right. That part. And I mean, to our testament is a people. To our ultimate testament is a people. Um, because I think some of us here is job just to continue the line. Some of us would just like make sure that the gene just didn't die. They just need to stay alive,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yep.
Um, some of us just exist, and that's the job of just existing,
Yep.
right? Till the next generation comes. So I don't want to be too hard on us because the variables and what Black people have endured and continue to endure is just been unbelievably,
I'm gonna be hard on this.
yeah.
I'm gonna be
Um,
the hard one on this
you know,
because
it
what
hasn't been for the faint of heart. Hmm?
what your ancestors had to deal with and what you currently today have to deal with are two very, very different situations.
Two very, very different
And let me
situations.
tell you, if your ancestors from 100 years ago could stand on the moral high ground, I guarantee you they weren't standing there so you could have a twerk contest on a bar at 2 a.m. That was not what they would, that was
Now you
not.
sound like Claire Huxtable. Now you sound like
I'm just saying that's not what they was there for. And people have taken it and they have taken, I mean, it's the beauty of freedom-ish, right? Of being free-ish, right?
sounds like a
You
TV show. Freedom-ish.
freedom-ish,
Blackish, freedom-ish.
blackish, free-ish, mixed-ish,
Free-ish. I
brownish,
like that because to me, it's like you're saying, it's only as great, honestly. Look, it's only as great as your architecture. It's only as great as your perception. It's only as great as the trauma that you're trying to see your way through, honestly.
because I guarantee you they did not take them beatings and them dog bites and them you know, half being tarred and feathered. They didn't take none of that so that you could be acting a plumb fool in the streets today.
Hey.
That was not the intent of what they was trying to accomplish. And none of that is culturally relevant to you as a human in this skin. And yeah,
Okay, break that down. You said none of it's culturally relevant.
and yeah, here we are. Like you're a bit like your the freedom that has allowed you to, you know, have in some people's cases 12 children by 7 mamas, proudly, might be added, like proudly.
You talking
Um,
about Nick Cannon? That's what you talking
um
about?
again, we're protecting the guilty and um or the freedom that has allowed you to wear cut out chaps.
Horses in the stable. Sorry, that just was right there.
The freedom that has allowed you to convert the B word into a supposed word of affection, which it will never be. Let me assure you of that. That was not what they were, and people want to say, "Oh, that's the culture evolving." That's not
Oh, I
the
see what
culture
you're saying.
evolving.
I see what you're
That's
saying.
not
No,
the
it's
culture
just
evolving.
trauma. It's just
That's
more
just
trauma.
you acting a plum fool.
Yeah, that's just
And
that's
I'm not even gonna say that's trauma because again, we use that word like a paintbrush, a broad paintbrush to paint a whole wall. And again, what your ancestors endured. Just
mind. Never mind what Harriet was doing ain't got nothing to do.
What, right? I'm like, what your ancestors endured. And I don't just mean on the plantation ancestors. I mean post plantation reconstruction
Civil rights,
of
whatever.
civil
Yeah.
rights, Jim Crow, all that what they endured. That's trauma. That's like internalized, personalized, traumatic PTSD. I should be in a corner, drooling and rocking because I didn't ask for none of it. I didn't put myself in the situation for it. None of it. It was all uninvited. We over here creating traumatic experiences
Yeah. And
for the
honestly,
fun of it.
I think that's, well, I'm not, first of all, I'm not going to excuse any behavior that harms self or others, right?
Yeah, no.
Debauchery and all. So I'm not saying that. I'm not making excuses for it. I'm just saying that there is a lot of power in having right relationship, right mentorship. We can't help the people who are wired in a way that you got everything and you still licking the floor like a dog and twerking like a hoe. I don't know. Like you got everything, and I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about those of us who entered into right relationship, have a little bit of crumbs and are trying to make a semblance of reality for themselves. So I just know that along the way of post integration, and again, our generation that decided to have kids and grandkids, and with the information that we got, with the education we got, um, it's not for the faint of heart. I know that we can do better only because I have children that I have hope in. And they seem to be a better reflection of myself and their father. That's what actually anchors me here. So I'll just put that out there. So I know it can be done, right? I know it can be done. I know you can be really jacked up and you can be intentional about yourself.
History says
And
it. Every data
uh,
point in our history, every data point in our history says it.
says, yeah,
You can be truly jacked up, hemmed up, hanging on by a thread, and still be better than
yeah,
some of this that's out here right now.
yes, yes. And if you're choosing not to be better, or if you're just not better, right? At the end of the day, I don't have to say anything about that because life, your body, the environment will have a response for you. Honestly, that's just how it works,
Mm,
right? You know, there's going to be a level of suffering that you may or may not experience, but it just is what it is, right? So I also want to put that energy out there for us Black folks that we are not responsible for anything but accept what we create and what we manage. You got kids, you got to take care of your kids, right?
yeah,
If you committed life to somebody, I hope you consider them. But beyond that, that's all we're responsible for.
that's correct.
Um, and that should take the burden off um, of all of us. But we weren't taught to do that because of accessibility and consent and all this other stuff. But to me, that's where this is going because this generation, at least my kids, they are not trying to absorb your trauma. They are not trying to absorb
Rightfully so.
a lot of stuff. And a lot of the kids that we call autism and stuff, and we talk about this, they don't even have the capacity to do other things other than what they were created to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So there's this field that is just narrowing, right? It's just narrowing that is going to help us focus on what we can control. And I'm gonna say this, and this really disturbed me, and we could talk about this later or expound later. So I woke up. Usually, I'm a person that when I wake up, I'm just up. I'm just online, prime. Let's go, world. This time I woke up, but I couldn't get myself to wake up. Like I was like half sleep.
Mm,
And
okay.
I just had enough to realize I was still in the bed and that my body was about to lay back down.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I was trying to get up,
Somebody was
but
like, girl, sit down, we tired.
that was it. And what I'm realizing that everybody gets to eventually, right? You get to the point in your life where you realize that there's your consciousness, there's you, right? There's the thing that makes you aware of things, but there's something more primal that if I don't submit in a certain way to the order of things, my body takes over,
Mm-hmm.
right? My body. I'm gonna sleep. My body shutting us down right now.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Right?
yes.
He's shutting it down. If I eat a certain whatever, my body is going to
Have a revolt. It will have a revolt. And my
right
body will
now.
have all out
Pull it or
revolt.
not, right here, right now.
Temper tantrum.
Right?
We're about to have it right now. I'll be
Right
like,
now.
oh, don't do it. Don't do it. It don't matter.
Right now. So I realized I was like, wait a minute. There is something, people have a lot of names for it, that does not depend on my existence. Right? The sun's gonna rise regardless.
Mm-hmm.
The sea is gonna be the sea, the forest is gonna be the forest,
Yep.
whether I submit to whatever or not.
Yep.
My heart's gonna do hard things until my heart says this is enough.
Yep.
Right? So there is something sobering about certain things that are autonomic, right? We showed up in this package. We get the existence package. You get oxygen,
Yep.
right? You get a body. You may not have all the parts, but you get a body,
Good body. Good
right?
body. That's correct. Yep.
Maybe you get some taste buds.
Yep.
But we get a package when we're here, and all of reality organizes around my existence while I'm here. And there are rules that are baked in,
Yep. There are
right?
rules that are baked in.
The rules are baked in. It's called one you learn about when you're a kid, gravity. You can be Superman if you want to, but
You
for
can be
whatever
mad if
reason,
you will. You can want to walk off the top of the 57th floor if you want to. Talking about I'm a fly. And look, I'm a faith-filled person. But let me tell you, you need to practice that, like from a one story, and then when you conquer floating from the one story, then go to the two. But try taking that to the 57th floor to start. Okay.
thank you. Like these are the agreements. This is how it's these are the laws that exist before you will exist after
Absolutely.
you. Like this is what it is, and there's no negotiation with that.
There is none.
None.
Mm.
And so now that I'm older, I'm realizing, okay, so this is about me getting in line with that, right? I can be so spiritual. I can be so new agey. I can be so wise. But if my knee decides to dislocate,
That's great.
okay, nothing is going to happen until alignment resumes itself.
That's correct.
And I'll know it immediately when it does.
Immediately, you will know. You will be made aware.
Immediately. And
Yeah.
to me, that's all what this is about. Us really conserving our energy as Black people to say, there's this book I heard that was out. I got to read it. It's called Let Them.
Oh Lord. Okay.
I haven't read the book, but I love the title.
It's a good title.
But there is stuff that's happening, stuff that's going on that is out of my control, will never be in my control. But if I choose to investigate, it will cost my body something, right?
Let me
It's going
tell
to
you.
cost my body
Let me tell you why that book bothers me. Why the book, the podcast, and the lady who did it.
Oh, it's a podcast too?
She's on her podcast.
Oh, Lord. Maybe I shouldn't quote something I don't know nothing about.
This is just me, and I have general visceral reactions to stuff like this. You know my thing with Brene Brown and Sheryl Sandberg and all these white women out here doing stuff. Black people have lived by the motto of "let them."
Yeah.
Our entire existence has been "let them." You do. And
You.
people want to drag us into things. We be minding our own business. We are over here, mind our own business, reading our own book, eating our own little food, doing our own little barbecue, sleeping on couches, minding our business. And then one of the women who look like the women who made these wonderful books.
Are they white? The
white.
Latin woman? Is she white?
Mel Brown. Why do I want to call her girl? Mel Brown. Jesus, I'm sorry, that's not her name. Her name is Mel. I blocked her out of my thing.
But she's a white woman?
She's a white woman.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, woman. Now I need to read it. Now I need to read it.
And if she had made the book as an ode to white women to tell them to mind their business, I'd be here for that.
Okay.
I would be 100% here for her to have a New York best-selling novel and a podcast and speaking engagements and all of this, if that's what she was telling to mind their business. to let people be, let them do the thing. Great. However, that's not the case. And again, telling us our own motto is a problem. I'm not saying she wrote the book for us because she wrote the book for everybody, but I'm saying we internalize things that other, and we talked about this at the Black Women Speak event, Black American Women Speak event, about how other people will, we can do something our whole life. Nobody is bothered. Somebody else who don't look like us, who has substantially less melanin than us, does the exact same thing. They get elevated to the highest of high. And then we want to support them in their message that we've already had.
Okay, yeah, they get to extract and profit off
So
of. Yeah.
I'm like, our whole life has been let them. We was like, we don't care about the white people. Y'all can have it. We just want our little space.
That's
We
true.
want our little bit. What y'all do? Bomb them spaces, burn them spaces, tore down them spaces, bring troops through them space, all of that. Great. We were like, we are just going to mind our business and have our little barbecues at our little park pavilion that we didn't pay for. And what happened? People call the police.
It gets smaller and smaller.
We're like, look, we don't need this. We just need this. Right? We just need this. We're fine, right? We're good. Right. So that's my issue with the book. I'm like, this.
Oh, okay. I
You're
realize
telling
that.
me the thing that is the motto of the people, my people's. Like, this is my
I
people's
see.
motto.
And she's not giving homage. She's not
Oh
referencing where it came from.
no.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm like, no.
Okay, now I feel like I got it. Okay. Is she part of the Brene Brown group? No? Okay.
I mean, I classify them all in one group of white women who have appropriated all sorts of stuff and got praise for it.
Okay. Well then I understand. So,
Yeah.
okay, well then look, I'll take that back. So yes, that has been, I'll refine that. That has always been our message. However, I'm saying it even louder because I don't know if it's this generation. There is, or maybe just me, but there is a big part of us, like W.E. Du Bois was talking about that double consciousness, the veil, right? That I have really honed in on myself. Those of us who, I don't know if it's deeper than code switching, but who may subconsciously align with whiteness, subconsciously center whiteness for survival reasons because we were just taught to,
do it. Yeah.
right? For us who feel like that we need to rescue them, right? Or to act accordingly around them. I'm like the Bureau of Magical Negroes or that whatever that movie is.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Whatever that movie is, right? That part of us that was taught in order for us to be okay, they have to be okay, right? Because of, I don't know, murder.
Yeah.
So that part of us that needs to consciously not only die, but be aware how that affects our bodies. And so I'll go back to this part. We haven't used this word embodiment, but ultimately, I guess the message is when we were doing the speaking engagement, we realized that not all of these are just nice mantras and nice ideas. It all has a bodily cost to us. Like, it takes away something from our own psyche, our own lives, our peace. Like, it's doing something. It's not neutral.
Right. No, it's not neutral.
Right. It's not a neutral interaction when I'm going into a certain store and there's a certain interaction. It's not neutral.
Correct.
So I guess that's the part that I realize needs to stop. Either my non-participation, right? Taking the charge out of it. And like you're saying, I just don't comply. I just don't participate. I go elsewhere.
Right.
Even if that means, and that's another hot cliff hang, we'll talk about forgiveness or prayer, right? Even if that's what's propping up the whole thing. But for Black women, Black people to give themselves permission to literally take that part of ourselves back, so we're not dismembered and fragmented based on some other false idea of reality.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, that centers all that foolishness.
No, yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that.
Right.
So, how do you presume they go about bringing their fragmentation back together again?
I think what we said at the well, let me make it very plain and practical. Just in the mud. Let's get in the mud. Um, and I'm gonna pull a scripture out on this, and I'm gonna break this down real quick. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. Us understanding, and I love how you said this, kind of shocked me last podcast, you know, Satan in the garden trying to convince you that something else is better than what you already have.
Hmm.
So for us recognizing the goal we already have and put our energy there,
Yeah.
right? Like there's nothing outside of me that needs refining. I literally have it. I have it so much so that the whole world mimics it and extracts
And
it for
mix
good
it
money
and get exalted for it. So
and gets exalted. If I see the Crips and the Bloods in whatever Asian country that is one more time,
let me tell you, let me tell you, I'm like Korea. If y'all don't go home somewhere, I don't know what to tell you because
oh, the black bands I'm starting to see pop
like
up
the
around the,
K-pop, yep, the K-pop.
oh, the cat baby.
I'm
Yeah.
like, this don't make no goddamn sense. I'm
Or the K-pop. But see, that's my thing. Us refining our own genius and being content with how great we are and investing
mm-hmm,
back into ourselves.
mm-hmm,
I think ultimately that's it. I mean, we don't have to really be concerned about how other people treat us if I'm so focused on my own genius and refining it. However, I do understand the program that prevents us from doing that. Um, but that's the key. Like everybody else wants it and we got it.
we got it. We have it already. That's what I'm saying about this little let them child. I'm like, girl, if you don't get out of here with that mess, but okay.
We literally
We have it.
already have it. So if we
Yeah.
actually value what we have, and like you were saying, my existence is law,
It is and it's invaluable.
and it's invaluable. Yes. And maybe that's the thing, understanding our value. So I don't know. I think it goes back to reconciling our value
Mm-hmm.
and investing there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And investigating how we give that away. I wouldn't say prostitute. We can't even do that. How
Girl,
we
we
are
can't even do
robbed.
that. Yes. Yeah. Because I mean, again, like you said earlier, prostitution, you get some type of compensation.
I mean, because you have to take account of you have to value what you have in order to prostitute it,
That's correct.
and
That's
monetize
correct.
for it. But
Yeah.
we're not even there. So that rebuilding our tent, kicking out everything that doesn't belong.
Yeah. And to add to that, I really think we have to pause. We are an excitable people, right? We are celebratory, we're joyful, it's part of what has endured despite. And things get said, come out, stuff happens, whatever the case may be, and we're just so ready to again celebrate and be joyful. I want us to pause and interrogate the idea
Mm,
because
pause.
I think we don't. Right? It's the same reason why.
Nicki Minaj. Is it Mickey? Nikki?
Don't even get me started on again. So people want to talk about Black American women and why the experience is different. Let Nikki be the reason that you.
I was gonna be like, girl, what they got on you? Who they say they gonna hurt? Who they say they gonna hurt if you don't do this? That's where my mind. What is it? Just you can't.
That
Who is
girl,
they said they killing your mama?
let
I
you.
was like, somebody is putting a gun to her head. I refuse to
Nikki,
believe this.
I'm not. Nikki is Trinidadian. The experience she has is entirely different. Like it's an entirely different walk. It's an entirely different. And that's why people were, it's been a little saying that people say all the time when stuff happens, skin folk, not all skin folk are kin folk. So just
Well,
because,
Harriet knew she had a gun and a Bible. Like, look, whatever decision you make, it's going to impact me only one way.
look, I wasn't a fan previously. I'm still not a fan, so I'm unaffected. So I mean, hey, look. And the man who is sitting in the people's house right now is still gonna do whatever he want to do. So that's, yeah, again.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, I mean, we need to stop and pause. We need to pause and interrogate the idea, right? The idea that, like, you look at how we let them sell back to us the idea of our own beauty standard of lip plumpers and butt, whatever you call the little things they put in people's butt now. And but I'm like, you already had the hips. Most of us. Now, look, some of us weren't endowed, but most of us, you were endowed.
It made fun of us.
They made fun of you. They made fun of your lips. They made fun of all of that. And now they're selling it back to you. Pause and just think about that for a minute. Pause and think about what you really think about your own beauty standard when you are paying a doctor several thousands of doctors to give you the standard at which you are. You got them little people over there in Asia or whatever who doing the cornrows and trying to get textured hair and all. I'm like,
I had no idea.
it's ridiculous. So I just want us to pause. And my dad was the master of this. And I used to hate it when I was a kid because I was like, look, I just want to watch this goddamn movie and I'm gonna just stop talking. And he was a master of, whenever we were watching something, it usually happened when we were watching some TV show or a movie or whatever the case may be. And if it was something that did not resonate with what he believed should exist, he was gonna mention it in that time,
Oh,
right
that's
then
me.
and then. Right? No, we're not even pausing the VHS tape. He's just gonna have a conversation. He's just gonna be like, now look at that. They got these people sleeping together on TV. That, why would you put, that's an intimate moment between people? Why would you put that? Why are y'all even watching this? These people are having sex on TV, and we'd be like, they not having sex, they just in the bed. Can we please finish watching them? Right? He would make you pause and think about what the programming was trying to tell you in this moment and what it was
Um,
trying to get you to vacillate on, and what it was trying to shake up in your system to try to direct you one way or another. That's what I would like us to do. I would just like us to pause and
pause.
interrogate the idea.
That is the next event. Pause. That's yes, that simple thing of pause. Let me tell you, after the event, I did not it felt kind of sacred to me and I had my own reflection I needed to do on it. But this is one thing I pause on. When we have these conversations, especially among Black American women, that I do not hear in this way in the
Mm-hmm.
public, I'm not sure how much I want for public consumption. And I even thought about that maybe that event needs to, I'm more interested in transformation. I don't control anybody else,
Right.
but you used to do these, and maybe still do them, but you used to do these, and I went to a couple. You would have table events, right? You would have dinners, you would have, small luncheons.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, ooh, maybe for these topics, maybe that is more appropriate.
Could be.
Um, I
Yeah.
was thinking about for people who really, really want to pause and who really
Mm-hmm.
want to reflect and follow up, because truth is weighty.
Mm-hmm.
Truth you have to digest,
Mm-hmm.
and truth has to metabolize.
It does. And it
It's
metabolize
not this
really
fluff that we
fast.
get. A lot of people don't have the stomach, like they haven't been primed for
Mm-hmm.
truth.
Mm-hmm.
So when it lands, it's like it actually might,
Yeah.
sprain something,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Because it's uncomfortable and most people aren't primed for discomfort. Most
Yes.
people, and that's why we end up with people who don't want to take accountability, people who don't want to be responsible for anything, people who take the lazy way out, people who, all of that is because The other way might bring about a little discomfort. And why would I put myself in discomfort when I could just do
Yes.
this and be perfectly in pleasure all day long?
Yes. It can be very destabilizing, like you're saying, and disorienting. And I remember when we were talking about the identity of us as Black Americans, it was at the end and it was a small mention, but it seemed like it's a lot of psyches were just like, like,
Mhm.
okay, wait a minute, that's gonna be a whole separate moment because maybe we're not ready
Mhm.
for that right now.
Right.
So yeah, like I realized a lot of care has to be um built around us because I
Mhm.
do remember when I was metabolizing truth very early on, how sore, right, it made me because that meant whole relationships
Mhm.
were gonna fracture and did,
Right.
right? And so that realization, I never forget, you pissed me off so bad. Um, on that Facebook post about, well, teachers work for the government or something like that,
Like,
right?
teachers are just government agents.
They're
You're
just government
government agents.
agents. Oh, it was so hot, you know? But that truth,
Let me say public school teachers are government.
public school, yes, public school teachers and what was going on. But those seeds, like we're talking about, those seeds that it could take 40 years to, right? Um, to germinate or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're very powerful. It does destabilize. And I think all this distraction is to keep people from those moments of pausing.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people, I learned, I didn't realize this, maybe I did it to just maintain sanity. Most people are never silent and still with their own being.
Correct.
They're not.
They're not.
So when you ask people to pause and reflect, that doesn't happen for a great majority of us.
That's correct.
Yeah. So maybe that needs to be a little, you're saying a little, what were you doing? A little,
Right in here. It's right in here.
a little incubator. Because it's very uncomfortable holding up the mirror to yourself, and nothing will do that like children. But it is very uncomfortable holding up a mirror to yourself and being like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, that's me. That's
Yeah.
me. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like we need to pause with our New Year resolutions and pause as we excavate this tent.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Right for
oh,
excavation.
goodness.
We excavating. All right. Mm-mm-mm.
We chiseling down to the truth.
All right.
And that's painful.
That is that
You're gonna tap that spine. Beep, beep, beep.
it can definitely be painful and uncomfortable. That is correct.
But it'll save your life.
It can save your life.
It will save your life.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Well,
Oh, this is good.
like how we clap for
I would clap for myself all the time, Chad. All the time.
Okay. So next time, look, whether it's a workshop in person or if it's the next podcast, I know that we are committed to pausing, excavating the truth, and it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's going to save your life.
That's correct. And that's what we're here to do. Big Black Tent, saving lives. Look at us go.
You can pause it, but I want to talk to you afterward. Blessed be, and so it is, everybody.
Right.